I love this book because it presents you about 90 positions and asks you to evaluate instead of just trying to find the best move in a tactical pattern. And this is more real than what we have in tactical positions, right? Because this is what happens in a real tournament game. You are in a game and you don't know if you're better, worse, what you should do. This book is all about the close opening, which is D4, right? It seems there is volume 1. I couldn't find a volume 2 about the openings, like 1e4, e5 or 1e4, c5. And I think the author really did a great job, but unfortunately maybe it wasn't rewarded by the market. With that said, I want to show you test number 2, which is a game between Bisquier and Karpov in Skopje in 1972, in Skopje Olympiad. Very interesting. Okay, c4, c5, knight c3, g6, knight f3, bishop g7, e3. Now, in some cases, if you play e4 when there is, if you play e5 and there is c4, is like a reverse Sicilian. So yeah, for what regards the English, the things can be a little different, but this is the symmetrical English. Okay. So after e3, knight f6, d4, castle, bishop e2, c takes d4, e takes d4. So white was able to get the center, and probably here the idea for black is to attack it from far. d5 and castle. Knight c6, h3, bishop f5, bishop e3, d takes c4, bishop takes c4, rook c8, bishop e2, bishop e6, queen d2. And now there is the last move of this test position, that is queen a5. So what does the author tell us? He says, here we see a typical isolated queen's pawn position. On this occasion, black's position is unmistakably sound, without any weakness, and with a good blockading square on d5. Besides, he aims to play his king's rook to d8 in order to put pressure on the isolated white pawn. White's pieces are not active enough to compensate for this weakness. And of course, it's white to play, right? So, white to play, choose one of the following possibilities. Option A, bishop h6, exchanging off black's fianchetto bishop, thus weakening the castle position. So this is one possibility. Option B, play a3, avoiding the blockading maneuver knight b4 and d5, because when you have an isolated queen pawn, you want to control the square in front and block it from moving, right? So option B is this. And option C, play rook fd1 strengthening the position. So how would you continue in this position? Bishop h6, a3 to avoid this, or rook fd1. I will also pause the video for a second to think what I would do. Okay, so we return after thinking. Now, here it says the following. The theme is the isolated queen pawn and the unfortunate exchange. In this position with an isolated queen's pawn, black has a comfortable game, preparing to play rook fd8, with pressure against the white d pawn. Option B, that was a3 to avoid knight b4 and e5, he says fail. It's a fail because black will play bishop b3, taking advantage of the fact that this movement weakened the square, right? So he says bad choice, you would get 0 point. I honestly didn't think it would work. And then there is the option A, that was bishop h6. Honestly, I didn't like it. Yes, it's true you can do this kind of thing, but I don't see a majority of forces on the king side to make it work, so I didn't think it would work. But this was the move that it was played in the game. So that's interesting. He says the move suggested under option A, the idea is to exchange the dark square bishop, weakening the black king side. However, as the game will show, all this exchange achieve is the removal of this queen's pawn best defender, the defender of the pawn d4, allowing black to anchor himself firmly on the dark squares. You get no points if you choose this plan. So what was the right plan here? The right plan was rook fd1, it says. And it will give you 5 points for this choice. But now let's see the rest of the game. This is the interesting thing of this book, that it shows you how the game ended and gives you some light annotations so you can learn from this game. And that's why I really like this book. I think many books should be made like this. It's a really nice format, to tell you the truth. So white played bishop h6, rook fd8, so is interested in blocking this at all cost. Bishop takes g7, king takes g7, rook fd1, and now a great move for black, which is rook d6. And you see, if white still had the bishop here, he could play this and this cannot stay here, so it's a problem, right? But here you can pile up everything, from what I see. He could do this, and then oops, and he has 3 rooks practically fighting for d4. So let's see what happens, however, okay? Queen e3, rook cd8, like I told you, yeah. And imagine, I didn't even see this game. a3 again, maybe he thought this idea. So it's really beautiful, this book, because the guy found the perfect position to ask you a question. Okay, he says obviously this move weakens b3, though it's difficult to suggest a good line for white. Yes, unfortunately at some point you have a problem. And watch here, bishop b3, so he took away the square d1. Rook d2 and rook e6. Wow. Queen f4 and knight d5. Knight takes d5, rook takes d5. And here there is g4. Okay, he wanted to control this because he's going to get attack. He's not trying to attack the enemy. And this says a necessary weakening on account of the threat of rook f5. Yeah, and here he gives a line, okay? But now black play another good move, which show in the offer words the weakness of the dark square for white, g5. A good move stressing the weakness of the dark square. A rook is going to settle on f4. Wow! So that's the new outpost. Queen g3, rook f6. Oh, so everybody's attacking this. That's amazing. I mean, a beautiful game by Karpov. This is a game to learn how to fight against the isolated queen pawn. Okay, so after queen g3 and rook f6, there is bishop d1. He tries to exchange that in order to get the control back. But obviously, black is not gonna do it. Now, the question is, and I invite you to think about it, would you play rook takes f3 now? Because rook takes f3, this is hanging, right? Well, it seems it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Because, and let's try to see it, okay? Rook takes f3, queen takes f3. And then after queen takes d2, you have bishop takes b3. So why it's good? Because, oops and oops, the queen that is here now is going to take here. Okay, so that gives white a great counterplay on f7. I'm not showing you the thing on the board because it's just two moves, so you need to be able to see it. If you don't see it, you will not do well in a tournament. So rook takes f3, not so good, because after queen takes f3, queen takes d2, and bishop takes b3. So attacking this. You need to move this and this wall. If you protect this, I don't know, you lose the rook, right? Okay, so what did black play after bishop d1? He played bishop c4 and bishop b3 and bishop a6. Once more, you need to ask yourself, is this possible? Because that is still hanging, right? It seems not good. Why? Because, and this is more long, I admitted that this is more long, but let's see. Rook takes f3 is bad because white continue with bishop takes f3, attacking this. Queen takes d2, b takes e4, rook takes d4, bishop takes c6, b takes e6, and then there is the final thing, the rook is here, queen e5, check, and the white survives well. Very, very interesting, right? Yeah. This is a little longer, in fact, I mean it's 4 moves, but again, you need to be able to visualize 4 moves, otherwise you will be lost in a tournament game. Okay, so after b3 he went back, bishop a6. So it seems obviously that Karpov visualized that, because he's not silly about this thing, so he surely saw all that line, and that's why he became a world champion, right? Because he was able to see at least 4 moves ahead. So b4 and queen d8. And now there is an interesting move by white, which is bishop b3. But once more, black is overwhelming. is overwhelming. It's incredible. Imagine that. Try to imagine what black is going to play now. He played knight takes d4. And of course, here if you play this, bishop takes d5, then there is knight takes f3 check, bishop takes f3, queen takes d2. Okay, so black is winning. Let's see, after rook takes d4, rook takes d4, knight g5, knight takes g5. So obviously the problem was that knight takes d4 was losing, okay, because queen takes d4, rook d1, and then there would be queen e4, so it's not gonna work. Rook d3, queen h4, aiming at this, h6, knight takes f7, queen d4, rook e1, and now there is a beautiful move by black which ends the game. Obviously what you want to do here is remove the defender of this pawn. How do you do that if you are black? Because you see that this and this are attacking there, right? Black played this. Rook takes h3 and the game is over. Because once he takes, take. Only move, right? Take. Now you can try to escape, but you can run, but you cannot really hide, right? That's what we say. The choice is between here and here. I don't know. Let's do here. Check. If he tries to go here, goes back. So what does it do? I mean, and if you go here, things can get even worse. So I don't know. So, but let's see. I mean, if he goes there, let's see what happens. Okay. I would do check because I'm a little sadistic in this guy. If he does this, checkmate. So he needs to do this, right? And then check again. And he goes here, for example. No. Oops. As you can see, the game is over and it's just a torture for white. I think it's a beautiful game, honestly, but the author use as example. So please try to find this book. I found it used. I think I paid less than $10, so it's worth it. It's worth it because there are a lot of used books at the moment. I don't know if in the future they will have used books, because the problem is that now everything is printing on demand, and so the publisher doesn't print, let's say, 5,000 books, then the book doesn't go well because sell only 1,000, and the publisher tries to dump the other 4,000 at an amazing price like $5. I've seen that happening, right? So what happens is that when they are printed on demand, when you order it, after a couple of days they print it and they send it to you. So if the owner of that book doesn't die or doesn't want to give it away, you don't have a used book or a book with a special price, because there is no kind of excess of books printed that are not sold. Okay, I thank you very much for watching this video. and see you next time.